Welcome to the weekly. I'm Jeremy.
I'm Matt.
Hey, Matt. So, Matt was kind enough to help with the co-hosting this week. So Chris is out. We'll see what happens next week. So this week on the weekly, we'll start with some breaking news. So it's been announced by both Asmodee and the studio handling the games that both X-Wing and Armada are done for. We got some statements online about that. So Atomic Mass Games, that's right. All under the Asmodee banner. Also, Electric State on Netflix. Delta Green Humble Bundle. DC20 breaks 1 million, so we're going to have multi-million flavors of 5e. Everywhere. Thank you, OGL. And the last little AI story. So Wacom comes up with some technology to protect artists, but I don't think they don't understand what the problem is. Mm-hmm. So let's start with our breaking news. Oh, actually, no. First, before I don't do news. This is not good. Breaking news. Wait, but first, we had a comment, an interesting comment that I wanted to regarding last week when we were talking about Demiplane and Roll20. So Minor League Gaming wrote on the YouTube that from the Demiplane side, they acquired Roll20, not the other way. And I'm more likely to trust the horse's mouth. So like the Demiplane Discord, and the announcement post is we acquired Roll20, not we were acquired. So that's interesting. So somebody that was on the actual Demiplane Discord, there was a post from Demiplane that said, yeah, we acquired Roll20. And my only source for that original announcement was an exclusive from comicbook.com. So, these are blogs and these are, there was no other source to compare against that at that time. So I thought that was interesting, but it has since come out though. Demiplane has posted on X that we're incredibly excited to share that we have been acquired by Roll20, at Roll20 app. We'll be joining the likes of Drive-Thru RPG and Dungeon Scroll as products powered by Roll20. And then there's a statement now officially on their blog. So yeah, Roll20 has acquired Demiplane, not the other way around. But we had that same sort of thing with Steamforged and the War Machine. The announcement was like we're collaborating, we're working together, and then it's like, well, everything's moving to their website. They're basically handling everything. So yeah, I don't know how the money thing is going, but that looks pretty much like acquisition, because they're going to be managing the lines and everything. But at first, even Privateer Press didn't term it, that way, acquisition. Maybe that turns people off. Maybe they're worried about turning, players and customers off, thinking stuff will disappear or, the likes. And that might have been the Demiplane strategy as well until everything was, confirmed. They weren't going to make everybody sad about moving to Roll20. Anyhow, so back to the breaking news. So exciting. We need bumpers to just be constantly repeating again and again and again. Yes, so I just got this email, and it was funny. It was Frontline Games sent some promotional email for their web shop, and they used the statement from Asmodee about X-Wing and Armada to direct you to their to the pages where they sell these miniatures. So the X-Wing game and the Armada game, formerly of Fantasy Flight, acquired by Asmodee and then managed now by Atomic Mass, are losing support. They hereby say, yeah, you remember you're waiting for stuff for us to produce more content for these games. Well, that's never going to happen. And people have been waiting, I think, for a few years with kind of, nothing to show for it once Atomic Mass took it over. So they, and it may have worked because if you followed the Frontline Games, the links from their email, everything was sold out. So I guess it was a good strategy. Use those press releases to promote your web store because, people are probably panic buying because they're thinking now we have a finite quantity of X-Wing and Armada ships. So the statement from Asmodee said, we would like to take a moment to express our heartfelt appreciation to the Star Wars X-Wing and Star Wars Armada communities. While the development of the game is ending, we will have a limited quantity of the product available for purchase while supplies last. Get yours quickly. The adventure is far from over. So they let the hoarding begin. If you thought people hoarded toilet paper, imagine how they're going to hoard X-Wings. So we are here to support Atomic Mass Games through a farewell tour culminating in an Open Worlds Championship at Adaptation March 2025. This will be a fantastic opportunity for fans to enjoy these games to the fullest with our full support every step of the way. But after that, you're on your own. Yeah, so we'll see. But that's not all. Our dedication to the Star Wars galaxy remains stronger than ever. We are thrilled to bring you new adventures of ongoing expansions and developments in both Shatterpoint and Legion. So they're not going to give up the miniature war games, just the ships. And yeah, interesting. So, and then they ended it. Thanks for being part of our community. There were some interesting comments under this release on, I think, Daka Daka. People were kind of chiming in and said once they handed kind of, stewardship of these games over to Atomic Mass, nobody at Atomic Mass likes ship games. So nobody wanted to develop for it. And so that's why there was kind of a lack of, excitement. They want to do miniatures games. They want to do Star Wars miniatures, not Star Wars ships. So they just kind of went away. And then other people were reminiscing about how big the first edition of X-Wing was, and saying at a UK game show, there were 100 tables of X-Wing at a single convention. So at its peak, it was a pretty significant, and I think that was like right before the prequel, or the sequel trilogies got underway. So people were getting all ramped up for Star Wars. What was your experience like at local game stores and stuff? Was there a X-Wing or Armada scene at all?
Not Armada. There were definitely X-Wing players, especially like you said in its peak moment. Mm-hmm. I played X-Wing. I thought it was pretty cool. But it's one of those games that either you're always playing at an organized thing or you're getting your friends to buy into it too.
Yeah.
And I didn't like going to organized things, and my friends didn't want to pay for X-Wing, so we didn't follow up. I did buy the core set for Armada, and Will and I played it, and I found it very disappointing.
Oh, yeah?
We played it, you get out the big capital ships and there's little squadrons of fighters, and it's like, okay, this should be awesome. And by the end of the game had ended. One of us had lost, and none of the capital ships had been destroyed. Oh, and it's just, and it was long. It was a couple hours, and I was just like, oh, come on, what do you think about with like in Star Wars when there's a big ship battle? There's always a capital ship going down somehow. Right. And like the game was set up like it was really hard to destroy a capital ship, and the game so that they had like a point kind of system to end the game, and so because they made it so hard to actually destroy a capital ship. So I thought that was a flaw.
Interesting.
And then I saw an article about this topic, and I had never heard of that company that took it over from Fantasy Flight. So like I'm reading through it, and they didn't mention Fantasy Flight at all in the one I saw, and I'm like, who the hell is this? So I didn't know what was going on, but I do think it's funny, right? Embracer just saddled Asmodee with, what was it, like $500 million or something?
Oh yeah.
Ridiculous amount of debt to cut them loose.
Yep.
And now they're like, oh, we're gonna start cutting these lines. Boom, boom, and yeah. No, that's true. And they did. So let me get back to the. So Atomic Mass did release a statement as well. And they wrote on social media, after long and careful consideration, we are here today to announce the end of development on X-Wing and Armada. We are grateful to the community's passionate engagement and support. And after the past few years, the rising production costs, global manufacturing, and pandemic-related challenges have made it increasingly difficult to produce a high-quality, pre-painted miniatures, which ultimately led to the decision to end the development. Although development is ending, we are not stepping away from these games entirely. Atomic Mass will continue to support. They reiterate that they'll be at Adepticon 2025. So thank you for your support. Yeah, and I think there's been Fantasy Flight has kind of stumbled into that a few times, because I think that was the reason for the end of the Confrontation pre-painted mini-series, and even AT-43. Yeah, I mean, high quality pre-painted miniatures are not something to go into lightly, and then when the costs rise And it's funny because it doesn't really please anybody. I think there's a very small crowd of people that are so happy to take a nice looking painted miniature out of the box and play with it. Everybody else wants to repaint it or touch it up or put some washes on it. And a lot of people want to cut it off of a sprue. So when you eliminate the hobby of the game, then you eliminate, I think, a certain number of players. And if it's then really expensive to produce, then I think you've got a limited time.
Yeah, Fantasy Flight did that with the Star Wars collectible card game that came before the current one. And of course, I'm blanking on its name right now. But anyway, it had custom dice, and every card had its own custom die.
Oh, okay.
And so their cost of production was ridiculous, especially compared to any other normal collectible card game.
Yeah.
And it was a real shame because the system, I had a lot of fun. I actually went to tournaments and stuff.
Oh, wow.
That game. It was pretty popular for a second. And they just couldn't afford to keep doing it, you know?
Yeah, I remember that they were having trouble, stocking production. Things started getting delayed, like new releases, and then things were out of stock. And when you've got a good system and something that people want to play and you can't get it in their hands or continue to support, give them expansions and stuff, that's really frustrating. Yeah, I don't know. And I think Star Wars, you guys were talking before the cast, Star Wars is not in a good situation right now. They haven't had a film in a while, and they're not producing any new ships. You're going to be making ships out of comic books and novels, basically. So these games are kind of stagnant because you don't have any new kind of content, new designs to incorporate, and things to get people excited about. Yeah, I think the Mandalorian's ship that was destroyed it was the only kind of new ship that we saw in a while, and otherwise there's just a lot of improvised stuff, and I think some of it did come from comic book inspiration and stuff. And so I think Star Wars is gonna stagnate for a while. I mean, I think they've got enough content for the Shatterpoint because they're releasing larger format, smaller numbers of minis. They can keep going for a while with that. But and they even said there was a comment that said it really did feel like the first edition of X-Wing was limited because the rule set wasn't strong enough to really support, adding a lot of new mechanics and really stretching it out. So then they moved to the second edition, kind of revised. That was a much better rule set that probably had better legs. It would be able to survive a lot longer competitively. But people got so angry at having to buy so much new stuff, for second edition, all the new cards and whatever you needed to do to get anything you already own working, and then buy new stuff. And then, people just couldn't get excited about the same models repainted, from the sequel trilogies and stuff. So, they didn't handle it particularly well. But that's, I think, a lot of the, what was handed to them from Fantasy Flight. They've always kind of, it's so sad that companies don't go into this. They're just looking at the production and the profit. They're looking at spreadsheets, and they're not thinking from the inception, let's make a complete game. And then if it remains popular, we can support it. We can support it with expansions, but let's have an end point to this thing. They're just especially with living card games and everything, let's just keep cranking out, this game, messing with the mechanics until it's unrecognizable, and we'll just stop. It's just it's cold turkey on all these games when they're just yep, we lost the license or we're out of ideas and we're done.
Yeah, it was always a real pain point with Fantasy Flight because they would have these really cool licenses, and for the most part, their design was nice, but they were always about monetizing, right? So they would, any of their board games would have the weird size cards because they wanted to sell you special sleeves for them. Anything that had dice would have to be proprietary dice, like that Star Wars game, or the Genesis, all the Genesis role-playing stuff. And before that, the Star Wars role-playing stuff all had custom proprietary dice. And that has always been kind of their thing, is how can we monetize this beyond you just buying this game,
Yeah, that's true. It's that mentality has not helped the actual games themselves. So I feel sorry for some of the designers that really did nice work and then had, kind of lost their player bases and stuff because of the economics of it, just the money making. But So let's start with our first story about the electric state. So someone's doing well. I hope this like helps everybody that's involved, because as we saw, the electric state was crowdfunded. So kind of it's a next like the next book in kind of the series that the Swedish illustrator that did Tales from the Loop, whose work was based on. So Simon Stålenhag did a book called The Electric State that was released. It was released a while ago, and there was kind of fights for the rights of it. Yeah, originally published in December of 2017. Similar to Tales from the Loop and Things from the Flood, it's an art book that kind of depicts a fantasy world, or kind of an alternate world, or some interesting kind of sci-fi concept, and then has text. So there's like little pieces, little fragments of story that kind of lead you through, some world building or what he was trying to do with the world. And so The Electric State was one of these books, and a little bit different. It wasn't kind of the nostalgic Swedish 80s anymore. It was a look at kind of broken down American decadence, kind of road trip movie style. And so after that book was published, there was a bit of a bidding war, I guess, over the rights of it. And the Russo Brothers, famous for their Marvel turn, optioned it, and they had a director lined up. And then the project was sold to Universal in 2020. Millie Bobby Brown was already attached. The Russo Brothers were now stepping up to direct, not just, I guess, produce. And then exclusively, it was taken over by Netflix in June of 2022, officially announced as a project, and in late June of that year. And now we're February 2023, filming concluded. So they're doing a film version, a Netflix film version, probably the most expensive movie that Netflix has made in a sci-fi film. So the directors of Infinity War are producing or directing The Electric State for a estimated $320 million. The initial budget was $200 million, and but there have been reports of up to $320 million. So this is part of the streaming wars. They're putting names and stuff together. Although I don't know The Electric State, it may bring in gamers, but nobody knows. I don't think there's a huge awareness of this work. This will have to promote the book pretty hard for people to even know what's going on. And it's an art book. It's not a novel, so it might be a little confusing. So we have the Russo Brothers. We have $320 million. Millie Bobby Brown, Chris Pratt. We have Stanley Tucci. We have Billy Bob Thornton, Jason Alexander, Anthony Mackie, Brian Cox, Jenny Slate, Kehu Kwan, Short Round, and Giancarlo Esposito are all involved. So
we know who the villain is then.
Yeah, okay. Right. And we know where all that money went. Oh my God, that's a lot of names. A lot of them are just voice actors, though. So I guess there's going to be a lot of robots or a lot of technology or whatever that is just going to be voice roles. So people are going to be the voices of a lot of the CG. So yeah, a retro-futuristic past. And basically the story is an orphan teenager is traveling across the American West with a mysterious robot, eccentric drifter in search of her younger brother. And we'll see how that plays out. So hopefully that's not too strange. That's not too much of a departure from the story they were trying to tell in the original graphic novel.
If they keep to his aesthetic, and it sounds like he spent a lot of money, so it better be a visually high quality, and they actually promote it, it'll probably be good. Like even like anyone who's into sci-fi type stuff who maybe hasn't heard of Electric State, if they can see it and it looks like the original stuff, and it looks well made, it'll probably do pretty good. I assume. My thing with Netflix is I think they're just on autopilot. Like I feel like they don't like really try to very hard to promote their stuff.
Yeah.
Especially outside of their app, like
that's true.
Everything I saw about Rebel Moon, which now, of course, I wish I'd never seen anything about Rebel Moon.
Right.
But from a promotional, it was all third-party hype. It was never Netflix promoting it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and unless you're driving down Sunset and they're flexing on the movie studios and you see these buildings covered with a Netflix ad, that's where all their money is going. They're not putting it into the rest of the country or the rest of the world to promote this stuff. Yeah, so Jennifer Lopez's Atlas didn't do it for you. That wasn't the sci-fi robot thriller you were hoping it to be. So some of these Netflix movies that have been coming out and, like you're saying, getting no marketing, no support, they seem like movies made based on fake trailers that were in real movies. Like if you see a fake trailer in a real movie and it's supposed to be kind of funny and show a famous person in a surprising role, that's what these Netflix movies are. They're just like okay, let's make that movie. You know that funny trailer in whatever Dumb and Dumber? Let's make that movie. And it's so strange. And I think the problem you had with traditional movie studios is they would make a crazy trailer. They would get you to the box office, you buy that ticket, and they don't care what happens after you've bought the ticket. They don't even care if you go into the movie theater. And so Netflix has this same sort of thing now. They just want to get you to subscribe. You don't even have to watch anything. They hope you don't watch anything, that you were just like, oh, that Jennifer Lopez movie, I want to see that. I'll click subscribe. And I forgot to watch it. It's that weird thing where they really hope you don't really want to interact, consume the media, because it's not going to be very good. It's just, it's like a placeholder.
Yeah, because most of it's kind of algorithm built, right? Or if not algorithm built, like the reason it got approved was because it checked all their algorithm boxes. And so usually when you actually watch it, it's real hollow. It's real like, oh, this was a waste of time.
Yeah, and once you have that experience over and over again, you just stop trusting that brand. It's just, it's so weird. Even when you have like big name directors, like there was a Michael Bay movie on Netflix. It was just terrible. It was really expensive, really big set piece stunts and things. And it was like, wow, how could they not even get Michael Bay trash to be entertaining? It was shocking that they can destroy popcorn movies.
I might say all Michael Bay stuff is garbage, but okay.
No, but I know it is. But they couldn't even execute that. They couldn't Netflix couldn't make a Transformers movie. That's how sad it is. That's like a pretty strange thing, is that they're not even able to like have that baseline entertainment.
I get what you mean. It's like there are mass consumption sort of movies that should expect to be hits whether you like them or not, and like I get what you're saying. It's kind of like if they did a Fast and Furious movie, it should be a hit, but it's Netflix, so they fucked it up.
right something gets lost in translation. I've heard people tell stories that like pitching to Netflix, there's a guy sitting there with a laptop that has access to the back end, and you're pitching things and they're kind of like looking, and they're probably putting terms together, putting genres together, and then they're estimating your budget and they're giving you a yes or no depending on how much money they're gonna be able to give you and what's been successful in the past. And I don't think that's a great way to make movie deals. You need somebody that has an instinct for the audience taste, not just looking at this this weird back end data of who knows what. Like could be global data. You have no idea what they are actually deciding from. But so this isn't the first Simon Stålenhag adaptation. We've also gotten Tales from the Loop. So Amazon, and that was another, I think, kind of poorly promoted series. So Tales from the Loop, which had a really interesting tone. Like I liked the fact that they executed this timelessness. Like you didn't know when the heck this was happening. You had this strange technology, and you had it was kind of Northern Europe in some weird way, and very strange. But I think the problem that they had a kind of an overarching story, but they also had, it was also kind of strangely episodic. Like there was a through line, but it was episodic. So it felt more like a Twilight Zone. And if you didn't really know what this was based on or anything, it was, it was not very satisfying, kind of confusing. Like, okay, so am I going to watch to the end, or do I just want to see, what characters they come up with next?
I think it's hard to create like meaningful substance in his worlds. Like I'm not saying you can't do it, but I think it's harder to do it because he's not really giving you like a giant playbook of lore or anything. It's more of like a feel.
Yeah, it is
So
atmosphere.
I think it would make more sense for someone to run like a campaign, a Tales from the Loop campaign, and then write a script based on what happened. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, no, that's true. Because doing that work, doing the world building work, the character, work and everything, interaction, dynamics between the characters. Yeah, I think would be much more interesting. Yeah, so but hopefully this will be good. I don't know if Tales from the Loop the Amazon series gave them any sort of bump at all in sales or recognition, because it may have just been people may have thought there were two things with the same name if they happened across either the board game or the tabletop RPG after seeing the Amazon series. But hopefully Free League can time this out with the retail release of the Electric State. There could be some kind of media, something for people to participate in if they were excited by this movie, and they can ride a little Amazon promotion or Netflix promotion if in fact there is any. But this is a big payday for a lot of people. So we'll see.
yeah, half that budget's got to be the cast because, like, those people. Some of those are some big names. Even Giancarlo Esposito is kind of hot as a bad guy now, and like, he's probably getting a decent salary out of it.
Yeah, so we'll see. We'll see what this ends up being, and hopefully it'll at least be fun to see this visually represented. But they may get the tone wrong, and I think they may have chosen a not very interesting story. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But so possibly the problem with Netflix is Elder Gods. I mean, it's possible. It's possible Cthulhu has had some sort of effect on how they're deciding what gets made. But you can fight Cthulhu with the new Humble Bundle that's out now, because Delta Green, what a segue, the kind of modern take on Call of Cthulhu. So instead of playing investigators in Delta Green, investigating the Eldritch Truth, you are members of a secret government organization. So more like X-Files, yeah. And so it's I think it's a really great take, and I think it's a really I've read through some of the books. Have you ever played Delta Green, Matt?
Yeah, actually, I played the old one. That was a question that came up when you were gone.
Which edition?
I believe the current version of Delta Green is a house system, correct? I played it when it was a BRP based system.
Oh, okay, I see.
So way back. But it was fun. I love all the conspiracy. It was loaded with conspiracy stuff.
That's good.
Very X-Files. But actually, one of the funny things I was telling the guys in the chat was we went coming from a Call of Cthulhu gaming background. My players kept forgetting about technology.
Right.
Like they kept forgetting, we could just call somebody, or
right.
If we do this, the cops are gonna come get us. It's so much different than the Roaring '20s Call of Cthulhu, where it's like, let's just burn the house down.
Yeah, that's really true.
But it was fun. Yeah, it was a lot of fun when I played it.
Nice. Yes, so this bundle is running until June 22nd. It's going to give you everything you need to play the latest edition of Call of Cthulhu. They're not giving me an edition number, but it's the core books, and then a lot of accessories and supporting materials. And this is supporting Covenant House, which is a food shelter and crisis care for homeless and trafficked young people. So it's so it include the Agent's Handbook, the Handler's Handbook, and then volumes like Impossible Landscapes, Conspiracy, God's Teeth, Night at the Opera, Control Group, The Labyrinth, Black Sites, Iconoclast, The Complex, Static Protocol, and Arc Int. And so, this is $18 for everything that you're looking at there. And of course, they give you the value if you bought everything separate digitally. And it's always hundreds of dollars. So you're always saving a lot, and giving to charity. So why the heck not? Yeah. So if you've been looking at getting into Delta Green, or at least seeing what it's all about, yeah. So that's 20 books, 20 books for $18, and I'll put a link in the description to the Humble Bundle page.
Really good deal.
Yeah. If to see kind of where, and yeah, just to see where things are at in this newest edition, I think that's not bad at all. And these are the nice thing too is they're DRM free PDFs, so you don't have to. Your name isn't printed in them or anything. Humble Bundle lets you download them directly from your little page, your little locker on their site. So cool. Yeah, it doesn't say. Yeah, and there was one. Somebody was really ranting when it came out. There was some kind of world building book, and I can't remember the name of it. If it was like Impossible Landscape or one of these like kind of accessory world building books for Delta Green that is really, really well done. That could be kind of that thinking and that system of world building could be kind of ported over to other different systems. That it was really, really well executed. So yeah, it's definitely worth checking out. Checking out the books if you have any curiosity, like playing modern Cthulhu, and do they? I'm not sure. Maybe it's changed in different versions, but kind of pulling punches because people have been afraid of insanity mechanics or insanity scores and stuff. So recent iterations of Cthulhu Mythos games have yeah.
Orcus in the chat said the new system is kind of a house-ruled version of BRP.
Oh, interesting. Uh-huh.
So they modified that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It was a long time ago when I played, so I don't really remember. But I don't remember much difference between the normal BRP and that. But I'm sure they've adapted. These guys have been working on this for so long.
Oh yeah.
I'm sure they've adapted it, changed it.
Nice. Very cool. All right, we got to talk about the new hotness. It's inescapable. Yet another flavor of 5e, the perfected, so everybody is like vying for the crown of 6th edition, right? We've got so many. We've got Tales of the Valiant. We've got the Colville MCDM, and now we'll add to that DC20. So from Dungeon Coach, is that so? It's another vanity title, right? It's Dungeon Coach 20. Yeah. We gotta stop doing that, guys. I think Tales of the Valiant is a better way to go. But anyhow, they broke $1 million, so we're gonna have these another $1 million RPG project. So currently, as of when I put these notes together, $1.3 million from their $20,000 goal. So yes, so this new system, this new D20 heroic fantasy system innovates on the best parts of 5e and Pathfinder. So this is based on the designs of Alan Bjorkgren, who is Dungeon Coach on YouTube. And I recognized the name, but when I saw the promotion video, I don't think I've watched any of his stuff. So maybe he's very deep into 5e, and I don't walk those roads.
Slippery path.
Right. So yeah, so it's claiming to have a familiar feel if you play Dungeons and Dragons or Pathfinder, but its innovations are customizable character building options and mechanics for all 3 pillars of fantasy. So I guess the pillars of fantasy would be what? But they're talking about a 4-point action turn system. I think Pathfinder 2nd edition has a 3-point. So this is a 4-point, so it's one better. A prime stat that is used in standard actions. So you can choose your main stat and you're always rolling that for any necessary tests. A stamina point pool that I think becomes a mana point pool if you are a caster, if you're magic. So you're powering abilities and things by building up these points of either stamina or mana. And so that kind of divides things between martial and magic classes pretty distinctly. So it looks, and they reduced it to 4 stats as well. So it's 4 points, 4 action points, and 4 stats. So they got rid of Constitution and the other dump stat, not Charisma. But
something.
Yes. Yeah, I think Might, I think they do Might, which is Strength and Constitution kind of combined. And then there's something that takes maybe Wisdom and Intelligence are combined as well. So, the thing I was surprised, though, it's a little pricey. So the PDF of just the core book is $30. If you want a hardback copy of the just regular design, it's $65. I think you also get the PDF, and then the tiers go up to $95 for digital all-in. So they're going to do additional books. You only need the core book to play, but they're going to do a lot of supporting books, monster manuals type things, and all sorts of supporting books that is $95 to get all of the PDFs. That's pretty dear for only PDFs, but every single pledge level does include beta access. But it goes up really steeply from there. So $145 gets you a physical core book and the digital all-in as well. So you get all the digital books and a core book for $145. The deluxe of the core book, $265, but I think you're getting all the PDFs. And the group deluxe is $595, and you get some extra stuff with the deluxe packages. They're giving you dice and initiative. They don't do initiative. I think they have it's another kind of go when you want system, but some little accessories that go, game accessories to help you on the table. So have you taken a look at the PDF, Matt, or anything about this Dungeon Guys game?
Yeah. Okay. Two things.
Okay.
First off, anybody, I think like us, who's really invested in the RPG hobby, we can be goldfish, like a new hotness comes out and that gets our attention. Mm-hmm. But the worst of us are the people who only play 5th and who are thinking about leaving the walled garden, but they just want to leave it for someone who looks like their ex-girlfriend. You know what I mean?
Right.
They're the worst. No offense to you people, but you're the worst. It's like Tales of the Valiant. Oh, screw you, because now there's McDungeon. Oh, screw McDungeon. Now there's DC20, which is not only based on the dude's handle, but it's also like a 5th edition pun. So it's just really annoying to me. But I was venting about this a little on Threads. I have to admit, the action point thing, I laughed out loud when I read that, because I was like, oh, so you're incorporating a reaction rule into a D&D clone, so you're kind of just Frankensteining something, taking rules from games that anyone who's spent any meaningful amount of time playing games other than D&D has probably encountered. And all these folks who are in that walled garden peeking over are acting like it's just this amazing revelation. Which I get that some of them just don't have the exposure. I do. But some of them do, and they know better, and it drives me nuts. So, like Orcus said in the chat, it's like they're just kind of mashing things into a 5th edition game. That's the classic problem with 5th edition is, and Chris talks about this on your show all the time. It's like, why are people always trying to square peg round hole stuff into 5th edition? Why can't they just see there's other ways to go? You know what I mean? Like, so it's already beat Tales from the Valiant on Kickstarter. I saw. So rest in peace to that game. Nobody talks about it anymore. MCDM, I'll believe it when I see it. And also, it sounds like 4th edition, so I really don't care. Right. So this one's just another one on the pile to me. Like, I'm so much more excited about like a new Outgun Adventures, or finding out if they're going to make a new system for that Conan RPG. You know what I mean? Like, this stuff is just, like I said, it's just dating a girl who looks like your ex-girlfriend. It's not like substantive to me. But they're making a ton of money, so God bless them.
No, that's a good point. And I think they can't help, especially if they, these are people that have maybe made third-party products supporting 5e. They've been immersed in 5e. They realize that what an audience, they have. And especially like if it's a YouTuber that's built a significant following or someone on social media like Colville, they can carry that onto crowdfunding and just clean up. Even though, it's there's got to be some fatigue. I mean, how many of these $1 million new systems are there really going to be? Yeah, I was just surprised how, and also with the MCDM, the price got way out of control. Like he would let you drop like $500, $700 on that game. Why would you do that? Yeah, especially if it's still in development. Yeah, I think we're at a very strange time, and people are just going to profit while they can until this thing falls apart and the walls crumble and everybody realizes, oh my God, there's a whole world out there of tabletop that we had no idea about.
Yep.
So we'll see. But couldn't avoid mentioning that because of the just the constant, and also it's making, I think, a lot of content for that group of 5e YouTubers that have now said, oh, we're not going to talk about 5e, we'll talk about everything else, Daggerheart and all that stuff.
They still do that.
Yeah, I know. They can't stop.
They're waiting for the next scandal thing so they can do their next thumbnail picture where they're like,
yeah, right. Always the Wizards has done it this time.
You won't believe.
Right. That's too bad. It's too bad that same kind of thing that's following around, Disney, Star Wars, and everything else is also, on tabletop. The outrage. We need to be outraged by how could they? How dare they? But as this last story is going to make us say, how could they? How dare they? So continuing our humanity's war against the machines, we have some strange allies that I think are pretty misguided. So Wacom of the famous Wacom tablets, graphics tablets, and kind of input devices, have found a use for blockchain. So they're going to protect your art. I don't know if it's from AI. It's not really. It's from piracy, I guess, by securing a license and your ownership using the blockchain. So they have created an app called Yuify, so Yuify, that will enable artists to claim their authorship and kind of document that on the blockchain. So it's an authenticator, basically, like an AI, based, basically, authenticator. But it's not going to, if your work is already included in a data set, it's not going to do anything about that. So I wonder what they're thinking. So the service is in beta for Adobe, which is another odd choice to start with Photoshop. So basically, it'll be a Photoshop plugin that you can choose to export the work as a PNG or a JPEG, and then you can create that instance on the blockchain to document. So it's going to create a permanent record of ownership for your work, and also allow you to specify how you want to license your work. Yeah, and it's coming for also Clip Paint Studio and Rebel, so two other graphics applications. So yeah, that'll be by the end of this month. So they spoke to the CEO of Wacom, Nobutaka Ide, and he was at the VFX festival, just schmoozing around and talking to reporters. And a statement they got from him, or a quote they got from him, is Yuify, I guess is what they're going with. Yuify is not a giant platform guy's protection scheme. So they're not trying to get you to pay money to protect your art, or what they claim it to be is it will enable artists to self-authenticate and self-manage their artwork. It's a first step, they're saying, right? So another quote that he added was, to put simply, the idea is to let artists let's protect artist portfolios. Let's authenticate the tight engagement between an artist and their work. Yes. So we all know about how well the blockchain has treated artists with things like NFTs. And yes, so but it's going to be hard to get away from this, what they're calling this self-sovereign identity technology. So it's ideal for like kind of creating this digital footprint that's documented in time and can't be, disputed. But it's weird timing. And I don't know if they really knew that Adobe was going to kind of change their terms and kind of make artists realize how vulnerable their work is that they've been, unfortunately sharing with Adobe. But the good news about Yuify is you don't need to use a Wacom drawing tablet to use the plugin. So wait a minute. So does that just mean you're looking for new sources of revenue because the new Apple iPad Pro is destroying the Wacom tablet? Like it's so much better for drawing, but you're stuck in the iOS, nightmare world of graphics. But I think Wacom is probably panicking a little bit because they're getting outclassed. So many illustrators that I know are drawing exclusively on iPad. So that's definitely going to hurt because how can you sell a $2,000 tablet, that plugs into your PC? You need a PC, to even use it. How can they sell those when you buy a $2,000 iPad and you got an iPad plus you've got a tablet? You've got a drawing tablet. Yeah. So there's a sign up. If you're really interested, if you're really feeling that gullible at the moment, you can sign up for the beta of Yuify and start documenting every one of your little chicken scratches that you make into Photoshop. So what do you think, Matt? Is the world saved? Do artists rejoice at this moment?
So imagine if the Butlerian Jihad had just been, the robots are bad, let's build robots to fight the robots. Oh, wait a minute, now there's twice as many robots. Right. Like no. I mean, this is more your world as an artist, as a visual artist, than it is mine. But like, it sounds horrible. It sounds like you're just making an NFT, a shitty NFT out of your work.
Right.
And it's like you said, it's more about ownership, which isn't going to stop AI from stripping it away and reformatting it for something else. And so I don't get it at all. But. Yeah,
it's a strange move. Yeah, and they're really trying to say, hey, we're here for you guys, but you're still working with Adobe, so I don't know how you're in our corner at all. Yeah, it's a funny thing, and the timing couldn't be worse. So I don't think this may never leave beta. I don't think they're going to get any sort of support behind this. I don't know. I think it's going to have to be something that comes from an uninterested party, like a third, like a technology company that has nothing to do with making money off of any of this stuff, that finds out a way, kind of like the people that are like, embedding the pixels to corrupt the training of AIs with your art. The people that are disinterested in making money in this and are just trying to, that have more altruistic, motives for developing tools and things. Yeah, Wacom definitely needs new revenue sources. So a plug-in to create some sort of licensing and ownership is right up their alley.
Related to it, I will say it is kind of heartened me a little that Adobe is getting a ton of flack for what they're doing, and to the point where I think they've put out some press releases sort of trying to walk back some stuff and explain things. But it's all money, so they're not going to really take away anything that makes them money.
Yeah, once, and I think they were copying a Japanese software model, but once Adobe, everything became not software licenses, but a service, a subscription service. That was the beginning of problems, because, then they're just making changes to their software, so it looks like you're getting something for your money that you're paying every month. So these updates, these random updates that all of their different applications are getting are very useless. It's like small iterations or weird tools, weird kind of niche tools. And some of the time it's just like, I just stop updates because I like how things are working now. I don't need any, AI smoothing features or anything. So I don't want to, either have them change things like now the hotkeys are different or whatever between these like versions. They do like really random changes that don't seem. It doesn't seem like they're kind of testing it well and having people say, yeah, this is good. Let's move forward with this. It's just like, we got to make changes. We're charging people $50 a month to use the software. We better make some changes.
And they do that thing, like you've mentioned this with Windows. It's the same thing with Adobe. Like I'll go on and there's been an update and like suddenly they've reset something.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
And it's so infuriating. Like you had to help me with one of those with my text,
right,
spacing thing, which just magically became like something ridiculous, like 32,
right,
whatever. Right. I was like, "What the hell is going on?" And so it's dumb.
Yeah, definitely in the middle of projects. Yeah, don't update your Adobe software because they'll do something that may even corrupt your files so that they're not very usable between versions, between saves. Yeah, it's weird. They just are not very well guided. Yeah, it's just they just need to make changes because they're a subscription. They're not a software version anymore. Very odd, but we'll see how this all shakes out. Well, thank you so much, Matt, for being with me today. So where can people find you online?
Well, I'm on Threads and Instagram. It's at Hargald, HAARGALD. And like I said earlier, I've done a little bit of sarcastic commenting on DC20 and its ilk. But I do talk about other game stuff, including Outgunned Adventures right now, just because that's been on my mind a lot.
Nice.
And check out our actual play. Once the internet cooperated with us, I think it was pretty fun. I'm looking forward to trying that again.
Yeah, great. Yeah, me too. Yeah, so I'm on a monthly schedule now for my cartoon. So a big, juicy live stream with lots of cartooning. So that happens once a month. So July is coming up. So if you subscribe to Abuse Cartoons on YouTube or Twitch, you'll get a notification when that goes live. You can always find that archived on those platforms and social media. There'll be notices when I go live as well. So that's Abuse Cartoons. If you want to read the cartoon, it's a single panel gag cartoon about inanimate objects. So that's gocomics.com/domestic abuse. And all that stuff is in the description, as well as Matt's drive-through store, Chris's itch account. So everything accessible to what we're doing with gaming. Oh, and another thing I'd like to mention, if you'd like to try, we got contacted because we mentioned Foundry. We were talking about Foundry and Anna Bradford last week. Foundry got in touch, and so we're on their affiliate program now. So if you want to support the site, support Foundry. So give Foundry a try. So it's Unity based. So actually you can buy it through Steam. It's available on Steam. There's a 20% discount on all Pathfinder content right now for this next week. And they changed their model, I think, from their original subscription model to an ultimate license. So you can buy a regular license, but that means everyone has to have a regular license to play. If you buy the ultimate license, only one person needs to own that license, and then everybody can log in without sharing that same license. So it's kind of the GM license. So basic license is $20. The ultimate upgrade is $30. So for $50, similar to Foundry, you can get on on Fantasy Grounds and give that a shot. And use our link in the description if you want to give that a shot and see kind of where they're at, because they're talking about big changes now. So you might want to get a before picture so you can see the after picture and rejoice. And I was really surprised the number of systems that they supported. I wasn't quite sure because you see Pathfinder and 5e. That's the big thing everybody needs to support. But Fantasy Grounds does a lot. Let me see if I can bring that up in a timely manner. Maybe not. But there's a lot of. I think Free League has done some stuff with them. There's also some. There is quite a few quite a few things to try. But like I said, Pathfinder 2nd Edition content is all on sale. Oh, there we go. So Cyberpunk Red, Dungeon Crawl Classics, Old School Essentials, Castles and Crusades, Rollmaster, Symbaroum, 13th Age is on there, Traveler 2nd Edition, Star Trek Adventures, Starfinder, of course, Dune, Fallout, First Edition Traveler, Alien, Mutants and Masterminds, then all the World of Darkness, let's see, Shadows of the Demon Lord, and Savage Worlds, which includes Deadlands. And Vaesen, too. So some of the stuff we've played is actually on there as well. Wow. So so yet another place to look for your VTT needs. So I'm curious, like connectivity wise and everything, what the difference is between Foundry and Fantasy Grounds, because this is Unity based and it's web based. I wonder if that changes anything. But give it a try if you're interested. And thank you so much for joining us. We'll do this again next week. And if you like what we're doing, consider becoming a weekling. So patreon.com/upturnedtable can get you the tier for supporting the weekly, and you can let us know what you want to see more of. Give us some tips about news stories that would be worth discussing. If you don't want to see any more DC20, you can make that request as well. But then there's access to content that we don't put that's not available just for free, and that includes also becoming a YouTube member. So if you click the join button between the video, if you're watching us, you can become a member and get access to the same content. We are picking up our actual play for Dune tomorrow around this time. So Matt and I will be there, and you will see what happens to House Abacoster. So that is all for this week. So thanks so much for joining us, and we'll be back next week.
Bye.
Goodbye.
soul.